Welcome back to the Team to Beat Miami Heat podcast, your one-stop shop for daily Miami Heat content. My name is Amir. For today's episode, we have Major back on the show. Thank you so much for your time today. Major, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, no problem. So before we get into today's episode, I wanted to do just a preview of the Miami Heat versus the Grizzlies. We're playing on the road tonight in Memphis and looking to bounce back after a tough loss against the Orlando Magic in our season opener. There were some good takeaways in that game, but overall, just what are your vibes after that game? Like, what are your thoughts on the game briefly against Orlando, and like, what are your vibes going into this game?
I don't think that's how anyone thought that game was going to go. Most people expected that to be a low-scoring defensive game. Pace was the second highest, I think Cooper said. He writes for the Miami Heat on the NBA website. Coop, if you're not familiar with him, should be. But he said it is the second fastest game through the first 2 days of the season, which not Miami Heat basketball typically. They want to get faster. No Jimmy Butler will help that. That's not a shot at Jimmy Butler. It's just his play style is just slower. They are leaning more into this space and pace, I guess I would say. And that was evident. Hopefully that continues long term. It's not uncommon where you see things start out a season one way and then kind of change. But I was encouraged. The offense did some good things. The defense, not as good as it should be. They did clutch up at times. Specifically the third quarter, they were pretty good. But the first half, I would say, was pretty bad defense, especially considering the players the Miami Heat have. So I think overall it's encouraging. You're still missing Tyler Hero, and if people want to admit it or not, he's going to help the team. They're going to get better. No moral victories per se. You're still 0-1, but you looked actually pretty solid. So I think it's encouraging. I think you should be pretty encouraged by that game.
What are you discouraged by? For me, real quick, clutch game again, up by 12 in the third quarter. That was the biggest lead. I don't think we were down by double digits once. We were in control of that game pretty much the entire game. I think the most we were down is like 5 points at one point, but I feel like throughout most of the game we were ahead by a little bit. 12 points in the third quarter. Fourth quarter we were up by 8, but within 5 minutes to go, of course, it was within 3 points. Another clutch game, another game that we lost in the clutch for a few different reasons, but what were you discouraged by?
Discouraged, I think really the thing that stands out, first half defense, like I said, they did correct it in the second half, especially that third quarter. Not super worried, but it's kind of like it's season opener. I would like them to come out a little bit stronger. Not going to harp too much on that, though. Clutch offense, though most of the game it looked better and moving around. Clutch offense was not great. They did generate some good shots, but overall, I feel like they went back into their issues of not moving around as much.
More hero ball.
Yeah, more
No
a little
pun
bit
intended.
more. Yeah, and it wasn't as bad as it was last year and has been at times, but and it is just one game, so this might just be a one game thing, right? But there were definitely a lot of moments where it was like, hey, you aren't moving as much. And I will say this, no excuse. The refs just swallowed the whistle in the past 5 minutes. It was insane. Bam was getting tackled. There were just that makes a difference in the game flow too, in the sense of like you need sometimes those free throws to like reset, especially when a team is kind of taking all the momentum. Getting to the free throw line can kind of reset that. There were a couple that felt very obvious that they did not call, that they were calling the whole game. And that's what's frustrating. I can live with missed calls or ticky-tacky, but you have to do it the whole game. Don't change it at the end of the game. That did favor Orlando because at the end of the game, they were the tougher team. So Rebounding, a lot of people harping on that he actually won the rebounding battle. They were pretty solid. People are wondering why Ware wasn't playing or Jovic. And I'm just going to flat out say it, they weren't good. Like Jovic started out the first quarter great, then was pretty bad. Ware was pretty bad. Adding height does not impact rebounding as much as people would like to argue. I thought he had the 5 best players on the court to end the game. That one that went to Wendell Carter, Bam boxed him out really well. It literally bounced to the one spot that Carter could get it. Sometimes that's just how it works. Now, he did get 4 offensive rebounds in the fourth quarter, but I think people are harping on that because of kind of when people got the offensive rebounds, but they did a pretty good job. I don't think there's too much you can complain about. It's just, hey, let's keep an eye on the clutch game offense. Is this going to be another problem that it has been for the past 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, it's not. We'll see. Like, it's not a trend yet. It's just one game. It's the first game of the season, but it could trend that way, and that can make a big difference, especially with a team that can't afford to lose a lot of
games.
Yeah, we can't afford to lose them this year. Like with this roster not having a superstar, and Jimmy Butler still looks like a superstar, even though it's only 2 games. We know he's going to miss at least 20 games for the Warriors this season, so I don't think the Warriors are going to be like a top 4 or 5 seed in the East. They could be if Jimmy somehow played 75 games, but that's not going to happen. So, but yeah, we need to clean that up for sure. The rebounding, to your point, height does help, but it's not everything. Look at Russell Westbrook. Look at Josh Hart, just to name a few guys who are 6'4" guards who are 2 of the better rebounders. Look at Luka, even at 6'7". Luka's, swallows up rebounds as well. Like there is a skill set. Like it's not just about height. It's just like we don't have the best rebounders in general on the team. But anyway, one of the bright spots on the team, obviously, outside of Norman Powell, was Davion Mitchell, and he looked really good. Do you think that's going to be sustainable? What are your thoughts on him moving forward? Like, do you think he should remain in the starting lineup even when Hero comes back?
Yeah. If he plays like this, it's going to be hard to bench him. And bench is probably not even the fair term anyways. But who's not going to start? Jovic? Are you going to go really small? Because Hero's going to start, whether people like it or not. Like, he's going to start. Yeah, are you going to go Davion, Hero, Powell, Bam? Those are unquestioned. Is Wiggins going to go to the bench? Is Jovic? That would be a super small lineup without Jovic. Wiggins going to the bench? Maybe, but it's like Wiggins, I don't know how he would take that. It's just weird. As far as if Davion's going to keep that up, man, I sure hope so. He was the best player arguably on the court. He was great on both ends. I know Powell was getting a lot of attention because of the scoring. Davion was pretty close to him in scoring for most of the game. Sorry, I'm going to clear my throat. But on the defensive end, Davion was one of the few bright spots for the whole game. His passing was insane. So I don't know if it's going to continue, but if it does, that actually changes the ceiling of the Miami Heat quite a bit. Someone you can rely on. And I just want to throw this out there. Something that the Heat didn't necessarily have for last year, especially not at this level. Davion and then Drew Smith. People might not like Drew, might not appreciate what he does. What you can't deny is that guy's a good defender. Going from Davion to Drew, there is probably a little bit of a drop-off of defense, but that is astronomically better than what they've had in recent years on the perimeter and point of attack defense. That is going to be something to watch all year.
The only problem with Drew, though, playing with the bench versus last year, he played with Jimmy. He played with Bam. He got to play with Tyler. So there was better offensive firepower around him. And on the second unit that he came in with, which is when we lost momentum in the end of the first quarter and at the beginning of the second quarter, because Drew came in with Pella and Simone and I think Kalel, and I think they kept Wiggins in there initially. So I just feel like no one really outside of Wiggins in that lineup, and like anybody in general coming off the bench is not gonna really demand a double
Mhm.
team, and there's no one really that's like a real 3-level scorer, like a guy who can create his own shot effectively enough where they're going to have Drew open. And he was more effective. Like, obviously, he's going to be like a quarterback game manager. Just don't throw
Yeah.
interceptions, like, don't turn the ball over, and just, bring the ball up and get people in their spots, but play really great defense, point of attack, energy wise. But my concern with him is that I don't think he's going to get as many opportunities offensively. Like, I don't even remember if he even took a shot or not, like, and he was just getting more open
Yeah.
shots when he was playing with the starters versus Jaime. You're not going to double Jaime. You're not going to double like Kalel at this point or Pella. So that's my only concern, but I still love seeing him come off the bench as like a spot defender, I would say,
Mhm.
in our rotation. Like, he's not going to really impact the game offensively like he was able to do the last 2 seasons, with he was hurt both seasons, but he was shooting upwards of 40%, like on low volume. But if he could do that, then like that's huge for this team as well.
Yeah, that's why people were making the argument, and I was kinda on both sides. I don't really care who starts, to be honest. To me, it's more who plays the bulk of the minutes anyways, but,
And who closes?
yeah, but people were saying Drew maybe should start over Davion, not because Drew's better than Davion, because to balance out the roster, similar to like the Jovic versus Ware argument. But Drew is not really an offensive threat. He can hit the wide open ones. And that's what, to your point, we were seeing that last year. He's not really a guy that's going to go create you much buckets at all. He can pass, he can run the offense, be that floor general, right? And don't make mistakes. You know what you're getting with Drew. But his offensive impact is really going to go with who he's on the floor with, just flat out honest. Like, if he's out on the floor with other players that can't really create their shot, his offensive output's not going to be great. If he's out there with other guys like the Norman Powells, the Tyler Heroes, even Bam, Jovic and his on those games where he's hitting a lot, like that'll even help him too, because then he can open up space and Drew's a smart player to play off that.
For sure. So, in terms of tonight, what do you think the rotation is going to look like? Do you think one Spo is going to stick with the starting lineup? I wasn't surprised, but there was a debate whether Nico or Kalel were going to start. And so Nico got the nod. He looked great in the first quarter, 8 points, 2 for 3 from three. Like, there was one play against Paolo where he backed him down and actually got into the paint and just like kind of had like a hook shot kind of play or whatever it was, or scoop play, and like it just rolled out. But like for him to bang against Paolo like that, who's obviously a beast, was impressive. Like, I don't want to see him
Yeah.
doing that, but like that was great to see. We want him to do that with like smaller guards, which he started to do last year, like take advantage of that, his height and that mismatch and like the muscle. Like, don't necessarily do that against Paolo or other bigs, but he looked good. So, but then he fell off. Like, he only scored 1 point the rest of the game and had like 4 turnovers. And I'm not going to blame him completely because Bam had 4 turnovers and Powell had 3 turnovers. Like, everybody but Davion basically took care of the ball. We had 17 turnovers, which is far too much. Like, we have to stay at the like 8 to 12 range to be
Yeah.
competitive. So, what do you think the rotation is going to look like? Do you think Spo's going to keep the same starting lineup? And also, I was interested seeing that Jaime was the first guy off the bench. He was the sixth man. Pella didn't really get to play. We thought he would get more opportunity, but he, fouls too much. But and Fontecchio, like, I didn't think he was going to be immediately a part of that, second unit too. I thought he was going to be more of like the ninth, 10th guy. But
That's what I thought.
what do you think the rotations will look like going in today, like in terms of starting lineup and like the first guys off the bench?
So I'm pulling up and I'm looking at the minutes here. Jaquez had 30. I wouldn't expect that. I still think he'll be the first guy off the bench, like him and Ware. But I don't think he'll have 30. Ware only had 14. I think he could have more. Fontecchio had 19 minutes, and he was actually pretty solid. I would expect that to be a little bit lower on average, if that makes sense. Kind of to
Unless
your
he's
point.
playing good, unless he's hitting the three,
Yeah.
like unless he's doing like what he did, like I get why he played more.
And it's not only he was playing good, as we kind of talked about, others weren't. So like that plays into it too. I think the game plan if Spo changed his game plan from one game to another, in the terms of like who's going to play, who's going to not in a drastic way, he wouldn't be Spo, right? He's stubborn, and he's stubborn to where people hate it, but it's paid dividends over his whole career, right? Whenever the games matter most, not the last 2 years, they have got waxed, they were outmatched, they stood no chance, right? But in the times where they had a competitive team, his stubbornness has paid off. Guys that he relied on when Heat Twitter, when analysts, when a lot of people said you need to move on from him, they have paid off. Biggest one, think of Gabe Vincent, really paid off for that, right? Now, I would expect pretty much the same game plan. Jovic to start, Ware to come off the bench. Larson, he only played 4 minutes. I think a lot of us thought he would play more, but he has to earn it. You know, he has a lot of tools. He's a smart player. One thing you see with young European players, especially that play for their national team, is they're good team players. Really like that about Larson. Really like his effort, his hustle. But at the end of the day, you do have to produce. And that's not only in Heat fans forget about this. That's not only in games. That's also in practice and other stuff. And I'm not saying he's not. I'm just like that is something that potentially that might be something playing into it, right? But we'll see. I think the game plan should be the same exact starters. Jaquez Ware first off the bench. Fontecchio, I think he justified his minutes, so I think he should get some run. Drew Smith should be in that backup point guard role, should play about the 10 so minutes again. I mean, if Davion's on fire again, Davion needs to play a big bulk of minutes. So I think we'll see something similar. They're playing a team not as good as they played on opening night either, which could play into it. And Ja Morant is a game time decision, so that could really impact a lot of stuff too.
Yeah, they have like a decent amount of injuries as well that they're dealing with. KCP is also questionable. Ja's questionable. Scottie Pippen Jr.'s out. Someone else is out. Actually, out.
I think out. Is it Ty Jerome?
Ty Jerome. Oh yeah, the Miami Heat scrub killer from last season against the Cavs. Whenever we played the Cavs, he destroyed us in the playoffs. But he's out. I think Edey's out. Like, I want this to be a trap game, even though it's only the second game of the season. But on the road games are always tougher for teams like the Miami Heat that are mediocre. So there's no guarantee, but the Heat, I think, are favored and should win. So before we close out, though, what do you think the keys are to victory for the Heat tonight?
Norman Powell got to continue. Bam's got to make some of those bunnies that he missed. He had another slow game on the offensive end, shooting-wise, and turnovers. To your point, they can't have near as many turnovers. They got to take care of the ball. Because even their defense that was shaky, I will say, was a lot of times hindered by the turnovers. Actually, in the half court and everything, the Heat's rating for the whole game, defense rating was pretty good. They just let up a ton of turnover and transition points. Now, three-point shooting as a team thing, that's going to be a key. Whenever they were hitting their threes, their offense looked good. They still had decent processes, but as soon as you start missing the threes, everything starts looking worse. So make your threes, take care of the ball, get your defensive set, and just make the easy ones, man.
For sure. Win the rebound battle. That's also key. Like,
yeah,
the Miami Heat, some teams out there could lose the rebounding battle and still win because they can hit the three ball at a higher clip. Just better assist to turnover ratio, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
Like, rebounding, though, there is a higher correlation that if you win the rebounding battle, generally across the NBA, you have a better chance of winning because you're not allowing the other team to get second chance opportunities. So most of the time when the Heat win the rebounding battle, they have a better opportunity to win, like most teams. But I think that means more for the Miami Heat. Winning the rebounding battle, playing with the pace, continuing with the up tempo. You said pace and space earlier in this episode. I think it's more just pace because we don't have a lot of space, especially with Tyler out. And like, we did shoot better from three that game than we did the entire preseason. So that was an encouraging thing. But, people are streaky. Outside of the Norman Powells on our team, like Nico Streaky, Davion Streaky, Fontecchio Streaky, Bam Streaky. So we don't have any very high level consistent shooters on this team with Tyler Hero out, with Duncan Robinson traded. So playing with pace, hopefully we can generate space and make it. But yeah, I think controlling the tempo, continuing to play faster, I think is helpful. Getting the rebounding battle and winning that, and then of course limiting the turnovers. Like, we just can't give teams easy opportunities. Usually turnovers lead to easy baskets on the other end, and I think those are the three key takeaways for me in order for us to win this game. Our key mantra every time the Miami Heat lose: bounce back. Bam Adebayo typically plays better after losing, and he played fine, to your point. Like, he started off actually aggressive in the first half. Like, he actually got up like 6 shots, technically double digits. If you like, obviously when you get fouled, they don't count that as a field goal attempt, but he shot like 10 shots in the first half. He shot like 4 or 5 free throws in that first half. It's just the second half, he, like, especially that fourth quarter, he regressed again and wasn't as aggressive, wasn't getting to the line. I think he needs to bounce back specifically to help Norman Powell. Like, he needs to step up big. He usually does against guys who are ahead of the DPOY race, right? So he's going to be playing against Jaren Jackson Jr. tonight. He usually plays well against him. So we'll see if he can. We'll see. What's your prediction, though, for the game today?
I think we'll probably see another clutch game. I'm not really a big Memphis believer, so I'm going to go shockingly with Miami Heat in a clutch game. I think they will bounce back. I think they'll just clean up some of those easy mistakes that were self-enforced. Like I said, they're playing a team that's not expected to be near as good as the team that they just played, and they played them close, so not unreasonable to think that it's going to go their way this time.
Yeah, I don't know if I put on Twitter, I put like 114 to 108 Heat, so close game.
I can see that.
But I think the Heat should, on paper, because again, yes, we're missing Tyler Hero. Kasparis, is he going to be in the rotation or not? We don't know yet, but like probably not this early on. So like, we're really just missing Tyler. They're missing like 3 to 4 pieces, and we don't know if Ja or KCP are going to play tonight. They're both questionable. So like, on paper, even though we're on the road, we should win just based on our health alone. So, and the Memphis they're not a great team. I think they're a good team, when Ja's healthy and they have Triple J, and once they get their pieces back together, like Ty Jerome probably will be a good piece for them as another guy who could score off the bench. So we should win. I think, whatever. Check out my Twitter to see the projection. But anyway, thanks for hopping on, Major. Really appreciate the time. Before we hop off, do you want to let the audience know where they can find you?
Yeah, as always, you can find me mostly on Twitter. Just add underscore my name, so Major _ Passons. And recently, I've just started writing for the Miami Heat on SI, so on Sports Illustrated Miami Heat website, giving update articles as well as every morning after a Miami Heat game. So, we're playing on Friday, so Saturday morning it'll be posted my player grades. And I know I have a reputation of just defending Bam and all these people. I am as honest as I can be. I think a lot of people are surprised at sometimes the grades I put out, where I'm not just giving everyone good grades and just focusing on the positives of everything. It is actually grading them to see how well they do based off their expectations. For example, Davion Mitchell, A+ last time. Had to be. Norman Powell was an A, or close to it. I don't remember exactly, but
what'd you give Bam?
Bam, I think he was a C or C+, because he did some things well, but he, like I said, he's got to deliver on the offensive end. That without Tyler here, he has to deliver for them to have a chance to have a good record. So check out that. Also, if you love Brady Hawk, Ethan, Matt, all these other people and several people that have been on your podcast, your listeners will be familiar with them. They're all writing there too. So I want to shout out my guys as well, Alex Toledo and Austin. So support us all there. Up to date Miami Heat news on absolutely everything. The Miami Heat on SI site.
Forget all those guys you mentioned, even though I love all those guys. Shout out to all of them as well. Go to Major's articles, spam them, click them, share the grades. on
Share us
Twitter,
all.
across the social media sphere. But check out everybody else's, but go to Majors first, obviously, because he's a core friend of this channel and podcast. So, but everybody else, the great work from Ethan and Brady and Alex and others. So definitely go check out Sports Illustrated for more content around the Miami Heat. So thanks again for joining, Major. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.